Hey, hello. My name is Teresa Micheletti, and this site is called Take What Rings True. So, take what rings true, and if I say something you don't believe, let it go. You don't have to believe anything I say. So, today, I want to talk about part 3 in my series about what's coming up in the world. So, today, I want to talk about the transition time between now and 5D, or the ascendance, or the beginning, or the new earth, whatever you want to call it. First, know that there's going to be a time of upheaval and moving into a bit of chaos, but you will be okay. We're going to break down the old normal and start a new way of life, which is not usual. We don't like that kind of thing. I'm going to move this. Okay. So, study guides have been talking about spirit guides, not study guides. Spirit guides have been talking about this shift, this change for years, for decades. And I wanted to let you know about what I believe is going to happen. What are the greatest probabilities from what I know at this point in time? So, as I've said before, we're in a time of change. And the earth has a chart. We're in the time of the shift for sure. The earth is cleansing and it's really happening now. There's a difference this time because people are shifting in vibration as well as the earth cleansing. Each person's higher self, their soul, has chosen to shift or not. And don't worry about it. Your soul has already decided. If you're going to shift to a new dimension, referred to as I said before, the fifth dimension, the new earth, whatever you want to call it, then that's already happened. You don't have to do anything special. We are moving to a different time called heaven on earth. And your subconscious and your soul are taking care of your physical transition. So we know the cleansing has already started of earth. It's getting hotter, it's getting colder, and it's going to get wetter. This earth is resetting. For example, right now, the core of earth is disturbed, which is allowing water to get in, and that causes volcanic eruptions. So we're just going to go with the flow. We are not going to instantly shift. You aren't going to be 3D in 1 second and 5D in the next. That's not happening. It's a gradual thing. We already know we're having the earth changes, and part of it is because we've interfered with nature and the earth's surface, and we need to get to a cleaner earth. So we're having earthquakes, floods, fires, volcanoes, and there will be stronger events like tsunamis, and these will all draw people together to help each other. So, what about your friends and your loved ones who seem to be insane right now, illogical? Well, people are feeling a little off or a lot off. One reason is the atmosphere that we live in is disturbed. And when that happens, then people don't know what to do and they act a little off the wall. So, anytime there's natural disasters, you have some people who face it calmly and other people who do not. Well, some of it is society's changing. And when that happens, the theory is there's a little insanity going on there. It's almost like a psychic feeling, like you know something is happening, but you can't put your finger on it. So people are a little illogical, a little off the ball. Not all people. We know there are fake news reports and even other countries posting false information under a bad actor's name, pretending they're your neighbor. and saying things that are not true. So when you have people posting things that make other people mad at you, other people angry because of your point of view, and saying that you're causing thus and such, well, no wonder people are getting upset. It creates division, it creates unrest, all this false information. And these bad actors are successful in getting people upset for what people supposedly said, or groups supposedly said, or supposedly did. And now we have AI with fake pictures of people and fake movies of people or groups saying things they did not say, doing things they did not do. And people are getting upset and angry and even hating other groups or other people. So much of what is happening does not make sense and seems illogical. So we may have family or friends who seem like they are going crazy. It's like, how can they think that? How can they believe that? It just seems so unreal. So, this too is helping to shift society, to break it down and create a new, different society, a new normal. So, our road may be bumpy for a while, but let's give our friends and family some grace and just let them believe what they're going to believe, even though we don't think it's logical, and that's okay. So, know that the road's going to be bumpy. And know that this transition between now and 5D will take many steps. One of them, people being a little crazy. And it will take 10 to 12 years to fully transition. So take a breath, keep your family and friends close, and allow life to flow around you while the old normal is changing. So allow yourself to just be in the present. Take some time for yourself. Allow yourself to just feel and let go of the stuff you can't control. Now, there's a new dimension. People talk about it all the time: the ascendance, the beginning, the void, the 5D. This dimension, this future will be formed and molded by our thoughts and actions. So don't limit your possibilities. We will go through negative parts and a little bit of chaos before we get to heaven on earth. I've already talked last time about the government, and especially the US government. Some governments around the world will transition. So the government needs to unwind to allow for a new government. Areas of the world with big devastation will have area governments, like the setting of the original colonies in the United States. There were area governments. It may take 15 years for a wider government change to be completed. What about technology in the next 10 to 12 years? Technology will survive, but will be in a different mode. Our current internet is obviously full of negativity and lies and untruths. So that will also unwind. And there will be telecommunications almost like an accelerated fax. What about manufacturing? Major manufacturing will not survive. You probably have noticed that many corporations put their profits far above people's safety and well being. We find out that people have known for 15 years that something that they do or some chemical they use make people sick or die. And that's not acceptable. So manufacturing will unwind, and then a new form of getting things done will take its place. Electricity. We will have power, mostly battery generators and solar and windmills, and we'll see how that goes. Money. By the 12th year of this transition, money will not be worth much. We will be bartering and trading, growing a lot of our own food. People may barter with precious metals or gems or even semi precious stones, coral, jade, and we'll trade goods and services. Food. Some areas of the world with great upheaval may take a couple of years to recover. You don't need to stockpile 20 years worth of food. Many places will not have deliveries of goods from other places. There will still be stores. However, we will move to a more community based existence with our community trading among ourselves and then also trading with other groups, other communities. So we might be growing food, we might be planting gardens. Think of World War II and the Victory Gardens. But probably there will be community gardens with larger fields grown to trade and barter food. We'll be eating more chicken and fish because it will be more accessible. Communities will grow their own food. There will be supplements developed to keep you healthy, keep you feeling full. Perhaps capsules or liquids, unlike what we have now. Travel. There will be various effects from earth changes. So we won't be traveling as much. There will still be airplanes, but air travel may be disrupted for a while. There won't be as many cars because gas will be limited and expensive. There will be more motorcycles or uh, travel like that, bicycles. Spirituality. Society will become more spiritual and people will gravitate to spiritual communities, which become centers, beacons of light for people to help them figure out how to transition to a new way of living. Truth. People will still have their own beliefs. One person may believe there's only one life, and others believe in reincarnation, and that's okay. People will be community minded. Now, there will be a few uncooperative people. Eventually, some areas will need lookouts, as there will still be some people taking advantage. People who may be rummaging around and don't want to work to survive. They don't want to participate in groups. People will band together more. Almost like the old days, covered wagons would have to circle around, banding together to protect the group. So by the time this happens, it will be almost the end of the transition time. And it's not the first time people have needed to protect their community. But right after that time, that's when governments will fully transition and will transition into the new time. So that would mean that for USA, the Republic will start and a type of National Guard will then patrol. So you are the only one in control of your own destiny. If someone tries to go beyond advice and aid, beware. Stop and don't give away your control, your power. Stand in your truth. Take a moment when you meet someone new or there's a new group. You will know if someone is untruthful or not right for you. Trust in yourself. There will be community living. People will band together. People will gravitate towards communities who share the same beliefs and feelings about things. Like early pioneers, eventually will get to a more pastoral way of life. One person makes bread, one tills the soil, another person may make clothing or even weave cloth. It becomes more of a paradise than it is now, but with appliances and electricity. More people will be living together. Maybe your family will be with grandparents and children, everybody together. Everyone will have their own houses still. You're not going to be in a dormitory with 100 people unless you want it to be. So, more people living together. This was the normal way of living in the past, and it will become in the future. What about fun during this transition? Well, sunsets don't cost money, sunrises don't cost money. So, it will be more simple. We'll be doing singing, dancing, storytelling, role playing, skits, charades, walking through gardens and woods, reading under a tree. When I asked angels about moving locations before this transition, they said, bring lots of books. What about our daily life? You will not be washing clothes on a washboard. You'll still have modern conveniences. Many people will become more extroverted and outside of themselves if they're introverts now. We're moving to perhaps the happiest times in your life. You will be helping the community, helping people to adjust, providing a functional role in your community. Study guides told us that our physical and spiritual well-being will increase. People will step up. Followers may suddenly become leaders. Think of a more simple life. Think of the Amish community. That doesn't mean you're all going to be dressed the same, but think of the way they live. They work in a community. People adjusting to new times may have difficulty, but study guides told us not to feel guilty if you feel happy during this transition. What about clothing? Manufactured goods may not be readily available, so new clothing might be more simple. More natural fibers like cotton and wool, more homemade items and do-it-yourself items. Recycling and reusing will be more normal. So if you're familiar with the whole Earth catalog, that may be something to think about. People will still have their own homes, but there will be more sharing, more cooperation. This will not change everyone into happy-go-lucky people. A few people may still be irritating, and some people will not want to be part of the community. That's their choice. Luxury. There will not be that many designer clothes. Mink coats will not be readily available, nor will fancy limousines. Our lives will become simpler. Animals. There will be more animals, especially domestic animals like dogs and cats. Of course, pets can bring you joy, but they can also help. Spirit guides tell us that many people will have 2 or 3 cats or dogs, which will act like watchdogs and protectors. In the olden days, cats, like those in Egyptian times, or temples in Egypt, cats were more protectors. What about attitudes? There will be more harmony, more magnanimous and loving toward each other, more peaceful. We're moving to where everyone becomes telepathic, so you know how others are feeling, and peace can finally settle in the world. Jobs. Remember, this interim time from now to 5D is predicted to take 10 to 12 years of transition time. So, what about jobs? Well, after a catastrophe, if there's volcanoes or earthquakes or tsunamis in your area, then building the community will be advantageous. So anything that can help with that. Service jobs will be advantageous. So if you're a carpenter, you're more likely to be more helpful than someone who's a real estate expert. People who know about agriculture will teach others how to grow food. More hydroponics. Don't worry if you don't have any expertise, because yes, you do. Some of you know how to keep house. Some of you know how to take care of children. Some people know how to grow flowers or plants. Some people may get the land ready to grow food. If you don't know how, spirit guides will infuse you with knowledge that you need. I have a friend in Arizona whose children learned how to do things and had knowledge because she's an expert at having her children sit down or herself and gathering knowledge from the other side, having it just download. It is possible. We always believe that what is the normal now will always be the normal. That's not true. People are already infusing knowledge that they need. So my friend taught her children how to download knowledge. So when they would go, I think one of them became a chef or something in the food field. And she downloaded the knowledge. She was the top of her class. She didn't have to go study books all the time because she downloaded the knowledge and she was able to use it right away. And that's also how she homeschooled her kids because they just downloaded the knowledge that's available. So if you are an organizational person or a management person, then you'll be needed too. If you're a humanitarian, you will be needed. If you're a healer, you'll continue doing that. Those things will not stop. Everyone will be needed in some way. So if you already know what you could be doing in a more simple community, great. If not, the knowledge will be downloaded to you, or someone will teach you how to do whatever it is that you're interested in doing, or how you could help. So if you're already in a service oriented job like nursing, teaching, organizational work, then that will continue. Okay, what about wellness? Obviously, if there's a catastrophe, an earthquake or volcano, then people will need some help to get better if they are injured in any way or hurt in any way. So most of us have a stronger immune system now and throw off any viruses that are released by volcanoes or earthquakes. Communities will have nutritionists, homeopathic healers. There'll be at least someone medically strong in preventive medicine. And they might test you for deficiencies in minerals, nutrients, protein deficiency. There will be hospitals, but less invasive medical treatments. I remember watching a Star Trek movie and they had gone forward in time, or they were from the future, right? And they'd gone into Earth in the past. And the doctor, I forget what his name is in Star Trek, he was remarking about how invasive everything was. And he was just using like this little laser pen to fix somebody as he walked by. So we're going to have more less invasive procedures. Most sickness will go away, we're told. Mental illness will go away. We will mostly use plants for medicine. Most current medication is a fancy form of a plant anyway. Like modern aspirin, willow tree bark has salicin, a substance which reduces pain and inflammation. And we already have people who are knowledgeable about homeopathic um, cures or homeopathic treatments. Now, I am not a doctor, but these are some suggestions from spirit guides you may consider. The atmosphere may be polluted or really wet and rainy for a while. So it's suggested that you now start eating well, eating nutritionally. You may find that you have more sinus problems, more glandular difficulty, more nasal, post nasal drip, more ear issues. These can be avoided, according to spirit guides, by increasing your vitamin C intake. So you're already told by doctors on the internet and maybe your doctor about taking anti-inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory vitamins. Now, what about lethargy and headaches? Spirit guides say try to counteract this by drinking a lot of water, drinking fruit juices, almost like you had the flu. So think of, okay, if you had the flu, how would you treat yourself? So fructose, fruit juice or fruit, has been found to interact or counteract dizziness and the magnetic pull on us. Some people are already feeling the gravitational effects. So try drinking fruit juice and see how it works. Education. The three R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, will be of value, but there will be more of an emphasis on communication, how to notice infusion from spirit guides, how to use telepathy. There will be more encouraging of students' talents and abilities, and how to tap into knowledge downloads available. We already talked about earth changes, and they will not be the same everywhere. Some areas will have earthquakes, other areas will have volcanoes while the earth is cleansing. Some will have tsunamis. Obviously, if you're in the middle of a continent, a tsunami is not going to affect you as much as if you're on a coast. The ozone is going to be repaired by the Earth's upheaval because more moisture will be flipped into the air during a tsunami. And supposedly, the major earth rift near the Indian Ocean will be so powerful that it will create water going up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet and then going around the earth. Just like if you've ever experienced being near a volcano and the ash goes around the earth, which may be happening also because there's going to be more volcanoes, but there will be moisture going around the earth and that repairs the ozone layer. Continents. There's a great probability that Atlantis and Lemuria may come up, which also creates tsunamis. Okay, the mission of light workers, which most of you are probably light workers because you're listening to this. Dark entities are not going to be interested. They're not going to be watching this at all. So some of the areas of the world that's been devastated by earth changes, and some people will be drawn towards light workers to help them transition. Those who do not go with the flow of all these changes will need more help because they're going to get crotchety and cranky because the world is not the same. The world is not normal. The primary mission of light workers during this transition time is to be a beacon of light that people will find, and it will help them to calm them, to know they're going to be okay, that we're moving towards a world with more light. We will get through this transition time. There will be happier times to come. And meanwhile, we just need to pay attention to our circle of friends and family, gather together, allow the unrest, upheaval to happen around us, but not take responsibility for us. We're not responsible for earth changes. We can help people in our circle, but we don't have to go fix everything because we're not going to be able to. So take a breath and let the world flow outside of your circle while we're getting to a better time. So the light worker mission, the reason you probably came to this time, maybe to experience the new earth, but also to help people during this time. Now, there's a veil between heaven and earth, and it's receding. People's vibration are shifting higher and higher. And people will really realize they have more communication with their spirit guides and angels, especially as we become more telepathic. People may start seeing angels. They may start seeing spirit guides. And you'll be around to say, it's okay. It's all right to see an angel. You're not going crazy. Now, just take a breath and allow some of this to filter through. It may take a while to process what I'm saying, but you will be okay. There will be people in your community who have skills they can teach you. In the meantime, if you're bent on preparing, think of the Amish skills. What do they do for their community? Is there a new skill you want to learn? Or bone up on a skill you already have? Spirit guide suggested if you mentally, with your mind, body, and spirit, ask for protections, you're not going to have to worry. So mentally, just think, okay, I want my mind, body, and spirit to be protected. You are creator. You can do that. Think of the white light around you. Think of being protected from the flotsam and jetsam around. As my mentor Francine, one of the spirit guides who taught us during trance classes, said, you are a spark of the greatest force in the universe, which is God. You have all the strength you need, all the will, all the abilities to do whatever you need to do. Have confidence in yourself. And don't feel responsible for the things going on around you. You are not responsible for our changing society. You are not responsible for the earth cleansing. So don't feel guilty about changes in the world. Focus on your circle of loved ones and friends and flow with life. Take a breath. Be in the present. Be in the now. If you have trouble and you're like floundering and thinking, oh, this is awful, take a breath and just be. Just be in the present. You will be okay. Take a walk. Go smell a flower. Stop and smell the roses, as the saying is. Your destiny will be fulfilled. So don't get upset. Take a breath and let life flow. I'm going to put the sources of where I get this information in comments. But I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have questions, you can contact me. You can put comments on Take What Rings True or wherever you are. You can contact me at heavenlyhypnotist@gmail.com. I am not going to do a psychic reading for you. That's not the purpose of asking questions. I will take any questions about the changes, any questions about the future, and I will channel on those if I don't already know the answers. And I will do another broadcast. So take a breath. Know that we will be okay. We're in a new time that has not happened before. We're shifting to a more heavenly time on earth, a more beautiful time, a more peaceful time. I'm looking forward to it. I like peace. I would like a peaceful earth, and I can't wait to experience it. So, thanks for joining me. And I'm going to put this recording up on, it will be on YouTube, but it will also be on Facebook. So thank you. Bye.